Do you know about the move function in Pro Stitcher? It's one of those underutilized tools, and today we are going to explain how it works. Welcome to Handi Quilter Watch and Learn. I'm Christina Whitney.
And I'm Kim Sandberg.
And we are excited to talk about the move function today.
Yes, we are.
I have been using this function quite a bit lately,
yes,
and it is a lot of fun.
So tell us why, like another reason why Move is so cool, other than it's just a really cool feature.
So you just push a button and the machine moves in whatever direction you tell it to go. So it's doing all of the work.
Yeah.
So for people that have maybe some physical limitations,
yes.
like right now I'm sitting in a chair, everything's good, but I haven't been able to quilt for a little while.
Right.
But I went through some withdrawals, and
yes.
I had to get that little fix. And so I put a quilt on that I've been working on,
right.
and I was using the move function. So I could sit down and just push a button and let the machine do the work for me.
Exactly.
So this is a quick little video of me stitching away.
Love it.
Hands-free.
Exactly.
So anyway, let's introduce the move function.
Yes, let's do. So this is such a great function. It allows you to stitch in 8 different directions. So horizontally either way, vertically either way, and then 45 degrees either way. So you may have heard at some point, we may have been bragging a little bit, how Pro Stitcher has
45-degree channel locks.
45-degree channel locks. I'm like, what was the phrase we were going to use there? 45-degree channel locks. It's this move function that allows you to do that. All right, so let's take a look at the screen here. Where we find move is under the Pro Stitcher tab, and it is right there on the ribbon. And you can see all the functions we have over here in the sidebar. So Christina, let's talk through these a little bit so that everybody understands how to use it. So we've got 2 buttons up here at the top, continuous and stitch. So what do those 2 buttons mean?
Okay, continuous, and I played with this a lot. If you have continuous turned on and you hit one of the arrows to tell the machine to start moving, it's just going to keep on going.
But it's not stitching.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Now let's go ahead and hit that pause or the little stop button there in the arrows. Now turn off continuous. Now if you hit the little arrow, it's only going to go as far as you're holding the arrow for.
Right.
Once you let go of that arrow, it stops stitching.
So this is how you can have a lot of control over it.
Yep.
Is you just pull your finger off and the machine stops.
Correct. So it's one of those things you just need to decide, do I want to let the machine just kind of go by itself and forget that it's going and you know, maybe crash into something?
Do you want to, it's kind of like when you're using a domestic machine. Yep.
Okay. So how much control do you want? Now the next button is our stitch button. If we have that turned on, when you push those arrows, it will actually start stitching in whatever direction it's moving.
Okay, so just a note here, I just made my stitch length a little longer because as we're playing around on this, I want to be able to pull these stitches out initially.
Well, why don't we just show them one of the purposes for using the move function, and then you don't have to tear it out.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay. So one of the great things that you can use move for is to base the top of your quilt. So Kim, you're going to show us how to do that?
Yep. So I already have most of this basted, but I'm just going to go ahead and pull up my bobbin thread there. Hold on to that. I have the stitch button selected. I'm going to go ahead and turn on that continuous because I want it just to stitch. Can we talk about the next line there?
Yes.
So what does the 5 mean?
So a lot of people think that that's the stitches per inch, but it's not. No. That is the speed that the machine will move. I don't know what the 5
formula
means.
It's slow.
It's slow. And you can play with that number. So if, let's say you're basting and you need to kind of manipulate the quilt a little bit, you might want a slower speed.
Right.
Let's say you're stitching a straight line across the entire quilt, you might want a faster speed.
Exactly.
So you get to play with that. And I love telling people that you just play with the buttons.
Exactly.
Play with them, figure them out what you want to do. But that's how it works. So you just upped your speed quite a bit. So viewers will be able to see a little bit of the difference between how quickly that machine is going to move compared to what you were doing earlier.
What was that, 5?
Okay, so you've got your machine in position, your stitch is on, your continuous is on, you've pulled up your bobbin thread, and you're ready to move.
I am.
Do you like how I threw that in there?
Yes, ready to move.
I like to move. Oh, sorry.
I know, I always want to dance when I play this. I'm like, move. Yeah, okay, sorry,
Okay.
that's us being dorks. Okay, back to, let's go ahead. So I want to just finish this basting across the top. So I want to just do it horizontally across the top here. Now look, hands-free.
The machine is stitching that, but let's say you have a wavy border or something. You can actually put your hands down there and manipulate it.
This is
Manipulating the fabric.
This is one of my favorite things because you can see here, if you've got a little bit of extra waviness, I can get both of my hands in here.
Yes.
To really hold that in place and make sure that I am stitching exactly where I want to. Now remember, this is going to stitch at whatever stitch length you have your machine set at. So if we look on my screen, I actually have it set at 8 stitches per inch. So it's not a small stitch, but it's good enough that it's going to hold everything there in place. So, but you can see how I can just get both of my hands in there to easily manipulate that fabric. Isn't that great? So if I had a little bit of wave or fullness I was trying to work in here, I could really easily do that. Now when you're ready to stop, you can hit either the stop button right here, or I can actually hit emergency stop. This is the one function that it is absolutely okay to use that emergency stop every time you stop, if you really want to, as Christina's hiding behind the machine there. We can go ahead and scoot that over. Now, here's just a note. You guys notice that I just moved the machine over. If you happen to be using some of the older versions of Pro Stitcher, when you get done using Move, you hit that stop button and the machine stops. Your motors might be locked. Now, remember, this is different than motors being engaged. Your motors are locked, meaning that the machine doesn't move. You can't move the machine at all. If that happens, all you need to do, and Christina, if you can just reach up and show on the screen there, we're just going to tap that motor buttons twice. And then it will unlock those motors so that you can easily then just move the machine to the next place you want it to be if you don't want to use the move function to move it wherever you want it to be. So just an extra little tip there for older versions.
Exactly. Okay. What other fun stuff can we do with Move?
Well, I think we should play
thread?
around. Yeah, we can, well, you know what? I wanted to actually stitch in this block right here.
Okay. Do you want me to move out of the way?
No, I figure you can help me out here.
Okay.
I've got some, okay, there's my thread, doing a little something there. So what I want to do is show everybody how to use the different directions, because guess what? You don't have to hit stop between the different directions.
This is so fun.
So let's just create a fun design here in this block. Okay, so I'm going to start out using a 45, and I'm actually going to up my stitches per inch because I want to leave this in here. Now I'm just going to have some fun switching directions, playing around with this. We're going to do what I like to call a straight line meander, right, Christina?
Uh-huh.
Kind of fun, right? So this is kind of a fun way that you can play around with this. And how about if we actually speed it up just a little bit? So don't be afraid to do any of these things while you're stitching. You can see that this is just kind of fun to play with. You could really have some fun but creating some very original designs doing something like this. So this is another fun thing that you can do with Move. Dang, look, I hit that just right. That's stitch in the ditch. I think I'll come down here just a little bit, go over this way.
So you're just filling in the space.
I'm just filling in the space and having some fun with it.
Imagine how much fun some grandkids would have with this.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, somebody who has never, ever, ever used Pro Stitcher before and is maybe a little bit afraid of it, this is a really fun way to just have some fun with Move. Okay, I'm going to come over here, We're gonna go over to the edge. And then, oops,
Oh.
I went over just a little bit. That's okay. And then we're gonna go up to the top, and then I'll hit stop. And I think we're good. What do you think? Do you like my all original design?
So fun.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and we'll break my thread here.
Oh, I just had an idea.
Okay, what's your idea?
Oh, I don't think that would work. I was like, could we record at the same time that we're using Move? But those are two different functions.
Because they're two different functions, unfortunately. Trust me,
idea.
I've thought about it. I've thought about it, and I wondered, and I've even asked the software engineers, and they have said, well, that's really intriguing. Maybe down the road. So who knows, maybe that's something we can put on our wish list and talk to them about. But for right now, it's one or the other because they're two separate tabs under the under Pro Stitcher. Sorry, two separate buttons on the ribbon, not two separate tabs. So
there's another thing that I want to have the software engineers play with on my wish list. I want to do 15-degree angles and 30-degree angles.
Yeah, 30-degree. I want 30-degree too.
Wouldn't that be fun?
It would be
Except
so much
I'd be
fun.
pushing the wrong arrow. Like, which button am I supposed to be on? Yeah.
So let's show one other way. I feel like we're going to show you 3 great ways to use Move. So here's one other way to use Move. So I have here, I just put down a nice little piece of applique here. So this is a really fun one that Christina mentioned, and it is a great one. I'm going to slow my speed down quite a bit here.
And are we pretending that this applique is already attached on?
Yes, we are.
So that the foot's not going to hit it and flip it over?
It's not. So what we're going to do is essentially create a crosshatch around this, but we're going to do this by turning on and off that stitch button as we're going. So I've turned my speed way down, so it's very, very slow. And I'll go ahead and bring my thread up. And I'm starting up here in the top corner. I'm going to hit that go. And like I said, this is very, very slow. And I'm going to hit my stitch. And I'm going to slide that right back underneath there because it wasn't connected.
I didn't get a very good shot because you're through the hand. Okay, so let me just reiterate. You stitched this first little section here, and then you hit the stitch button on the screen so that now it's not stitching, it's still moving.
And now I'm going to hit stitch again, and it starts stitching on the other side, and it's stitching at exactly the same angle across it.
And in
Isn't
the
that
same
cool?
line. Perfect.
And look at that. I made that perfect. So this is a great way to do crosshatch around applique.
Love it.
So that's one other way. So I guess we could call this like top 3 ways to use Move. What do you think?
So we did the basting, we did this, we did this. We also have this here.
Yes.
So maybe we have to do 4 ways.
Maybe 4 ways. So Christina, tell us about this because this is so cool. This is something this is a sample that you did for a class.
Yeah, so this was the precursor to that video that we showed you earlier, the quilt I'm working on right now. This is all done, all of this pink stuff is all using the Move function. And I would just hit the button with continuous on, and when I got bored with it, I would change directions and just played with it just to break up this space.
Cool.
So then I could go back in and play with the fills in the side. But yeah, just getting those different angles and just being wild and crazy.
I love it. So number 4 way is a great way to break up negative space and create smaller spaces to put designs in. I love it. That's fantastic.
Okay, well that was the Move function.
Yes.
Did we get all of the buttons covered? I think you pushed every single button.
I think I did, especially here in my very original, nobody else will have a block exactly like it block.
Yeah, and I like that you were able to change directions without having to stop in between.
Exactly.
And you also changed between stitch and not stitch while you were on the fly.
Yep.
So that's fun. You can do the same thing with the continuous.
Yep.
So glad you joined us today. Glad that we got to play.
Yes.
It's always a good day when you get to play.
Absolutely.
So make sure you stay tuned and make sure you like and subscribe as well. But we're going to have some video, or not videos, we're going to have some Instagram pictures for you to see. And make sure that you use the hashtag Handi Quilter so that we can put your pictures at the end of our videos. And have fun quilting.